Alright, welcome to part 3 of this tutorial. We'll be finishing up the theme and doing the nav bar right now. So first things, we'll add it to the index.template.php. Scroll down below the middle part and add your code. So we're going to add a div class equals navbar. Close that off. And we're going to have a navbar inner. Whoop. Like that. And we're also going to have navbar guts like the rest of them. Shift tab to remove tabs. We also want the style width on there as well, like the rest of them on the inner. And we want to use the template menu, which is what the nav bar is created from, even on the normal index template. So save that, and we want to add our CSS as well. So it is a height of 34 like the other one. And a width of 100%. And we also want to get the gradient for that one, so go to blending options on that, and this is a 4-part gradient. So get this color, go to your gradient creator, paste it in, and then get your lighter color. I'm going to add 2 in there. And these are at positions 35 and 65, I think. Let's just check. 35, 65, okay. And just add some opacity things on there. So now, why are they looking like the same color? 8, 1, 9, 2, and 7, 5. Okay, so that's 7, 5. Oh, it looks good. Okay. So copy that, paste it in, and you can just leave the RGB if you want, but I like changing it to the hex code. And change it. And then we want to add the Navbar Inner. With the same thing, margin 0 auto, to make the auto margins height 34 px and a color of FF white. Okay. So now we gotta do the guts. Navbar guts, and the padding 0.20 pixels. Okay. Save that. Save that. Upload them both. Refresh. And now you can see we have the template menu, which is used right here. So we have to just go down to that function. All you have to do is scroll down or search for template menu on this file. It happens to be right here. And we're not going to have any sub buttons, so we can get rid of this if statement and for each on that. Let me make sure I have that so it lines up the whole thing, so you can get rid of that. And we're also going to change up the whole part of that function to divs instead of a whole UL list. So we can just get rid of these 2 things because we don't really need them. And we're going to change this to a div, change this to a div, move the A's out of there so that the whole button is linked, and get the /A, move it out. So now we can align our code appropriately, like that. Back it up. Alright, I guess that's good. Okay, and we want to add a button title right here. Actually, it's right here, so just copy that and get rid of the span tag like that. So then we have our thing. You can see what it looks like, so upload it like that. And it shouldn't have errors if we've erased everything correctly. So now you can see they're all lined up there. They don't have a float left property or anything. We want to add a class of Nav Bar Item link to the A and have it right next to active, and we want to put a space right there. And we also want to add a class of Nav Bar Item, so we can get rid of this class of Nav Bar Item, and then we have the same statement right here, except we don't have the space. Actually, we do. And get rid of this first level and close it off with the quote. You can leave the ID if you want, but it's not necessary. Okay, so save that, and now let's add the CSS. Okay, so nav bar guts, go down a little bit, and then we want nav bar item, which this will be a general item, just like that one. So we want a float left to make them line up next to each other. We want a height of 31 px because we don't want them to be the full height of that nav bar line height. 31 px to make the text vertically align to that pixel length. Padding of 17 pixels on the vertical, so 0.17 px. Margin right 3 pixels to space them out, and a color of white for the links. We want to position them down 3 pixels to make up for what we're not doing on for the full width of 34. So we want to move them down right there. And top negative, 3px. We also, this is relative, not 3px, position relative top 3px. And we want a background of RGBA, and we want 0, 0, 0 for black, and then the alpha channel will be 0.1, like that. Close it off, and we also want a transition effect, so we can add transition all point to S, and I'm just going to copy paste the rest of the cross browser ones. We have the WebKit transition, and Moz transition, O transition for Opera, and MS for old stuff. So we can save that. We also want to style the links, so nav bar item hover, which will this will be for the, when hovering over these, and we can just change that to 0.2, so it just gets a little darker, and it'll have a nice transition effect with that. Now it's time for the links. So nav bar item link, and then link, there's no space, copy that, and we want active, and we want visit it, and hover. The color will be white. Text decoration none. And we will have the active links like .nav bar item .active. So if it has the nav bar item and active class on it, we will change the color of it to the orange, and we will have the background be white, so we can add that in there. Background FF like that, and we can get the color by just getting the text, and it's the color overlay. So add color like that, and then we just need to style the links for that, the Nav Bar Item. So link, and we also want to have the rest of them. So we want active, visit it, and hover. Save that, upload both of them. Now all we have to do is delete the top nav part. So scroll back up to where we started, right after here, and we just want to go get rid of this whole header part, not the wrapper, just the header. So find out where the header ends. It goes down pretty far, and it's right here. So delete that whole section, header, and then frame, and finish off the echo tag. This should be working good. I hope the deletion is correct. So refresh now, and now we got our full thing right here. The only thing left is maybe get rid of that border on the top there. So just find navigate section UL in the CSS and get rid of the border top. Save it, and then upload the CSS like that. And now we have a site that looks just like that. So hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe to our channel, and suggest other tutorials I should make. See ya.